With Duelist quietly rising to the top of the meta, and now buffs to both Zed and Laser Core, this comp is definitely ready to take over TFT. Let's break down Zed carry. In the early game, there's two openers you're looking to play. Laser Core 3 is a solid opener when you will likely put carry items on Ashe, with tank items going to Renekton. If you get Kayle instead of Fiora, then she can also hold carry items instead of Ashe. The other opener to look for is Duelist 4. This is the preferred opening, and you're likely to Hawk Streak when you get it. In Duelist 4, Kayle is holding the carry items, and either Fiora or Gangplank will hold the tank items. At level 5, you can add an Annie for Ox Force 2, and you can play Vi as well, as she will be needed later. While the synergy with Annie is nice, Vi is always contested because of Aegis, so it may be better to play her instead. Now at level 7, you should be able to reach Duelist 6. This board is really dominant because of the insane attack speed on all of your Duelists here. This allows you to skip a carry item like Ginsu's and go for either more carry damage or healing. If you're lacking frontline and have a ton of carry items, you can also drop down to Duelist 4 and play 2 Aegis and 2 Brawler for heavier frontline. Playing Laser Core 6 here is doable at level 7, but it requires a decent amount of luck. You'll need to get a natural Zed and Sejuani 1-star, which is highly unlikely. You can also roll some gold for it, but this is not recommended. It's also difficult to play unless you got a full Laser Core opening. For these reasons, it's better to avoid it and stick with the board here. This stage is the most difficult part since your carry is a 1-cost unit, so if possible, you'd like to rush to level 8 ASAP. If you can skip level 7, that's the best. The goal is to do this with minimal health losses. If you can do that, then you're in a great spot for the endgame. Now at level 9, this is my preferred endgame board with Zed carry. You can also play Duelist 6, but I think it's important to play Hacker 3 for the Omnivamp. If you're facing a heavy AP lobby, then swapping one Hacker for more Aegis is playable too. You'll want to maintain 2 Hacker at all times, however, as Zed needs backline access to truly shine. Before hitting level 9, you want to roll down for Zed and Sejuani 2-star at level 8. If you can afford it, then Echo 2-star is also a huge find here, not only for the added Aegis, but because his taunt ability is crucial for keeping Zed safe. We'll cover that in the positioning section. From here, items, augments, and positioning will determine who takes first, so let's break that down. If you want to climb and hit your rank goals this season, you need to sub to my channel so you never miss meta updates and comp guides like this one. For carry items, you should move from Kayle or Ashe to Zed. You can also move them to Vayne in the mid game before going to Zed, but keep in mind, you'll need to remake Vayne if you do that. For items, Zed is actually very flexible. Although Edge of Night is considered best in slot by many, I tend to play Titan's Resolve with a healing item like Bloodthirster or Hand of Justice. And for my last item, Last Whisper is best, but Deathblade and Runehands are also solid choices to add more damage. Now if you don't plan on playing Hacker 3, then you'll likely need at least 2 defensive items, but with 3 hackers, I prefer Titan's Resolve over Edge of Night because it adds more damage and makes Zed super tanky, and with healing, he becomes a drain tank and can still drop aggro when he activates kill mode. For tank items, you want to go from Renekton or Fiora to either Nyla or Sejuani. I tend to give Nyla the main tank items since I can find her earlier, then I give Sejuani the secondary tank items. Warmogs, Sunfire, Bramblevest, or Dragon's Claw are all great choices here. For extra items, Gargoyle Stoneplate for Echo is great because he taunts enemies to him. Redemption is also great on Nyla or Echo because you have a ton of melee units, and works well with Nyla's ability. Now for Vayne, any extra carry items are excellent. If you get Last Whisper on Vayne, then you should not build it on Zed. You only need 1 to sunder enemy frontlines. Vayne can also hold Ginsu's, Runehands, and Giant Slayer for extra damage and tank shredding. Now let's move on to augments. If you score Duelist Crown, you may want to go for Duelist 8. You should be able to fit it in with Hacker, but you'll need to drop Laser Core. You can also play Duelist 6, which is much safer. Hacker Crown is another OP crown in this comp, giving you 4 Hacker, which is a huge 70% Omnivamp boost. You should give the emblem to a tank so they can become a drain tank more effectively. Knife's Edge is a solid damage boost. This augment should be taken when the other better options aren't available. Stand United is a great option for all the splash traits. While it's weak early, once you're in the late game, you should be able to get a ton of damage out of it. It also works with the less duelists you have, as you'll be able to fit in more traits. Cybernetic Implants is fairly weak. Consider re-rolling if you get it, but if it's the best option with no reroll, then go ahead and just take it. Celestial Blessing is super strong. Again, Zed loves healing, and you can almost never have too much. Exiles provides great durability and gives Zed a sizable survivability boost. I would prioritize healing augments, but this is also a great choice. Now as for hero augments, both of Zed's choices are S tier. As for which is better, it really depends on how many duelists you play. The less you have, the better Contempt for the Weak is to make up for it. Shadow Jutsu is great great for damage if you lack any, or you just want more. Next to Zed, Sejuani's choices are both S tier. I personally like Shatter more because the added damage while stunned lets Zed clean up a lot faster. The last S tier choice is Echo's Chrono Break for the same reason as Sejuani's. A full board stun is broken, letting Zed clean up fast, but it takes 10 seconds to activate, which is a long time, so it's not quite as good. My favorite A tier choice is Sleepy Time by Zoe. Stunning multiple enemies is good, but not as strong as a board-wide stun. If Zed can jump to a stun target at the start of the fight, it really helps win the round. Next in the A tier is Vayne's Into the Night. It's a decent choice because it comes with the item Edge of Night. The attack speed boost is okay, but not really needed since you already have so much. Now in the B tier, we have Jubilant Veil from Nyla. Nyla's anti-CC augment is like a mini Verdant Veil. Unfortunately, Zed is unlikely to need it, but it's still better than nothing. So if you don't find any earlier choices, this one is salvageable, and it comes with a free Nyla. Now the last option worth considering, Spirit of the Exile from Yasuo, is pretty weak for several reasons. You don't really need the attack speed, and it forces you to position awkwardly. While it does synergize with the Augment Exiles, using Hacker becomes a little bit more difficult. It's almost better to hope for a non-hero augment than get this, but it's still worth mentioning. Now positioning is very simple with Zed carry. Offensively, you always want to line up Zed with the enemy backline. You also want Echo on the same side as Zed. This way, when Echo taunts enemies, any aggro on Zed will be dropped and he'll be free to kill targets. Now Sejuani has two possible positionings. If she has main tank items, keep her in the center, but if she has one or even no items, then line her up with the enemy backline. You're looking to get the biggest freeze possible for Zed to get easy cleanup. Defensively, there isn't much to worry about. Unless you have carry items on a backline unit, you don't really care what happens. Just keep Nyla in the middle for big AoE heals and Echo in front of enemy Sejuanis. Just remember, Echo protecting Zed is much more important than taunting the enemy Sejuani. Did I miss something? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, I'm Swagadelic.